Senator Peterson on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd ask the members of the...
President.
What did I say? Chairman. Mr. President. Let me try that again. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask the members of the Senate and Governmental Affairs Committee and any other members who'd like to come forward. Now, members, this afternoon we are honored to have present some family members of Jennifer Ashley Mitchell, who we know suddenly passed away a little over a week ago. And today we're joined in particular by her mother, Jennifer Gail Mitchell, and her husband, Charles Carter. Of course, there are a lot of other family members. At this time, I'm going to ask the Assistant Secretary if she would mind reading the resolution. I really thought it was important for them to come before we finish session so that they could feel the love and hear personally from you all that Ashley meant to us. And so with that, Mr. President, I'd ask that the Secretary read the resolution.
Madam Secretary.
Senate Resolution 265 by Senator Peterson. It's a resolution to express the sincere condolences of the Senate of the Legislature of Louisiana to the family of Jennifer Ashley Mitchell Carter upon her death. Whereas Jennifer Ashley Mitchell Carter was born and reared in Shreveport, Louisiana, where she graduated from Caddo Parish Magnet High School in 2003, and whereas she was the daughter of Jennifer Gail Walker Mitchell and James J.B. Mitchell, and whereas her mother shared this beautiful soul with the rest of the world and imparted in her a strong work ethic, her love for God, and passion for people, and whereas she was a devoted child of God, a loyal family member and friend, and whereas she was a 2007 honor graduate of Louisiana State University College of Arts and Sciences, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, and whereas she was a 2011 honor graduate of Southern University Nelson Mandela School of Public Policy, where she earned a Master of Social Sciences in Political Science, and whereas she earned a Juris Doctor at Southern University Law Center in 2011, and whereas she became a certified mediator by the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service in 2009, and whereas in the summer of 2010, she was a law clerk for Black Entertainment Television Network and Viacom in the Department of Business and Legal Affairs, and whereas she held the position of law clerk, student intern for the United States District Court, Middle District of Louisiana with Judge James J. Brady, the United States Senate, Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship with Senator Mary Landrieu, Office of the Governor under the Assistant Chief of Staff, the Louisiana State Senate Chief of Staff Office with Jerry Guillotte, and whereas she served as a student mediator in the Southern University Law Center Mediation Clinic, where she mediated several disputes, including foreclosures, landlord-tenant disputes, and consumer complaints. And whereas she worked as a researcher in the office of Governor Kathleen Blanco, a law clerk for the Louisiana State Senate, she was the youngest executive director of the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus and executive director of the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus Foundation. And whereas Ashley served as the attorney for the Senate Committee on Senate and Governmental Affairs and the Select Committee on Women and Children under the tutelage of Senior Attorney Tim Prather. And whereas Ashley's drafting skills and knowledge of legislative law and procedure exceeded her years of experience and made her an asset to the Louisiana Senate, she was considered a joy to work with by legislators, lobbyists, her supervisors, and her fellow staff members, and where she also served as support staff for the Louisiana Legislative Women's Caucus. And whereas it was important for Ashley to glean from those who paved the way for her, and she was supported by a host of mentors, which included but are not limited to Yolanda Dixon, Cynthia Reed, Don Cravens Jr., Johnny Anderson, Edwin Murray, Lydia P. Jackson, former state senator, Marquis Pierre, Mayor Sharon Weston Broom, Alejandro Perkins, Representative Edward Ted James, Maxine Cormier, who she affectionately called her second mom, and Senator Karen Carter Peterson. And whereas during her time at the state capitol, she was mentored by Senator Karen Carter Peterson, and whereas this relationship turned more into a familial bond and sisterhood. And whereas Ashley was one of the co-captains of the group of supporters for Senator Peterson, affectionately known as Team KCP, and under the tutelage of Senator Peterson, Ashley continued to learn and soar and became a guiding light at the Louisiana State Capitol. And whereas she was a founding partner at the law firm of Pearson and Mitchell, LLC, and whereas her practice focused on intellectual property, contract negotiations, family law, wills, successions, business, and foundation for formation, and whereas she was a member of many legal organizations such as the American Bar Association, Louisiana State Bar Association, Baton Rouge Bar Association, and Louis A. Martinet Legal Society, and whereas she was an adjunct professor of advanced legal writing at Southern University Law Center, and whereas she was an instructor at Baton Rouge Community College in 2015, where she taught several classes, including economic development and workforce solutions. And whereas Ashley became the Director of Government Affairs with the University of Louisiana System in 2018 under the direction of Dr. Jim Henderson. And whereas she was heavily involved in her community and had a heart for people. And whereas no matter how successful she became, she never forgot where she came from, as evidenced by her yearly trips back home to Shreveport to give out turkeys to the needy during the holiday season. And whereas she was involved in a wide array of ventures and organizations, such as Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Walker's Legacy, the Junior League of Greater Baton Rouge, and other endeavors in business, church, and community. And whereas as a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, she participated in the constructive development of her fellow members and to public service through the sorority's many initiatives. And whereas she was a member of Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church of Shreveport under the spiritual leadership of Dr. Theron Jackson, pastor, and while in Baton Rouge, she served as member of New Gideon Baptist Church under the spiritual leadership of Pastor Brandon D. Collins, where she served with her sisters in Christ as the director of liturgical dance ministry. And whereas she married the love of her life, Charles Carter Jr., on June 28, 2014, and where she gained a new family in the form of Carter's parents, Betty and Charles Carter, Sr., and whereas during this union they enjoyed traveling, hosting friends and family at their homes, sharing genuine love and the building of a bright future together as evidenced by their many entrepreneurial endeavors, which included real estate and Carter's Sweet Treats. And whereas also during this union, Ashley heavily supported Carter and his childhood friends with their nonprofit organization, Reaching Our Dreams Foundation. And whereas Ashley played an intricate role in many of the community outreach efforts of Reaching Our Dreams Foundation, such as their annual Thanksgiving turkey giveaway in both Baton Rouge and her hometown of Shreveport, their annual Back to School initiative, which gave school supplies to underprivileged students, hosting giveaways, and adopting less fortunate families during the Christmas holiday season. And whereas Ashley went to be with the Lord on May 27, 2019, and whereas the pain of her passing is amplified by the fact that she was with child, and whereas she had a heart of gold and a smile that was glowing sunrise that uplifted everyone she encountered, and whereas her favorite greeting was "Hello, sunshine," which was reflected of the energy that emitted from her at all times. Whereas Mencia said, "Friends are the siblings God never gave us," and whereas Ashley was a friend to many people who ended up accepting her as family, and whereas it was inevitable when you encountered her infectious aura that you knew you had encountered an amazing individual with a beautiful heart, and whereas she had a passion for Louisiana, from the food to the culture, and most importantly, the people, and whereas she was a wondrous combination of perseverance, self-belief, strength, curiosity, humanity, and compassion. And whereas her family has established a scholarship fund to commemorate her life, work, and service, and this scholarship will be awarded to law students who share and uphold the same values and possess the same qualities that Ashley possessed. And whereas grief shall fill the many hearts that have encountered this amazing spirit, Solace must be found in the fact that she was a believer and accepted the Lord in her life at an early age. And whereas Ashley is survived by her parents, siblings, and her husband, Charles Carter, therefore be it resolved that the Senate of the Legislature of Louisiana does hereby extend its deepest and most profound condolences to the family of Jennifer Ashley Mitchell Carter for their immeasurable loss, and wish to recognize her for her service to the community, the state of Louisiana, and her fellow man.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I just wanted to read a couple of quotes from a book that I referred to. It was given to me as a gift by one of the Sergeant at Arms. I don't know if you all know Margaret, who used to work on the other side. And every now and then I'll read it, and some of these quotes reminded me of Ashley and the 34 years that she was with us. How amazing what God can do in 34 years and how he blessed us. The noblest question in the world is, what good may I do in it? That was Ben Franklin. She did a lot of good. The secret to success is to do the common things uncommonly well. There were a lot of little things, and she touched a lot of people around this Senate, staff and members. And you don't really think about it. Every now and then when I buy the pages some pizza, or make sure that the amendment room gets fed, you do things quietly, uncommonly. But if you do them, those common things uncommonly well, you'll be rewarded. That was John D. Rockefeller Jr. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men. That's what Ashley did. She did it every day, all day. She lived it to the fullest. Death puts life in perspective. Death puts life in perspective. She observed people. We should observe people who are good at their work. Skilled workers are always in demand and admired. They don't take a back seat to anyone. She was one of those skilled workers who never took a back seat around this Senate. And finally, working hard one step at a time. Work takes prayer and patience. This totally reminds me, Gail, of your daughter, and Carter, of your lovely wife. Work takes prayer and patience. Think of every job as a service. She did. How can you help someone? Be an example of leadership, no matter what your position. It didn't matter the title. She was involved in so many things. She was always leading. Show dedication in all that you do. She did that. And finally, a positive attitude makes all things go more smoothly. She always had, as the Secretary mentioned in the resolution, an infectious smile. And one more. No man or woman is a failure who has friends. And boy, would I tell you, she has some friends. Members, let's show this family what kind of friends she had in this Louisiana state. I hope you feel the love today. I hope you feel the love today. We will miss her, but she will always be a part of the Senate spirit. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Peters.